all of our local community leaders and the hardworking folks at key entities in our community who earned an incredible federal appropriation. And I have to tell you all, I was so proud to carry your requests. And we're here to announce the list. But today really will be the first step, because we are planning on highlighting every single one of these wins. One of my favorite things is delivering those big fake checks. And so we will be doing that with each one of these projects, because each and every one of these projects represents a really critical component of improving our community. But first, let me share a little bit with you about the community project funding and what it is and how it works and our role in it, and all of these great folks' role in it as well. So a couple years ago, we reinstituted what was formerly known as earmarks, but we don't call them earmarks anymore because they have changed significantly. It's a very transparent, competitive process. There's a lot of rules around them and guardrails in order to safeguard the investments that the federal government is making. And I am so proud of the work that my office and I did to help build a process that has integrity, that has value, and that has transparency. And the whole purpose of these community-funded projects is to ensure that members of Congress who choose to participate in them, and not every member of Congress does, but that every member of Congress who chooses to participate in what is a very time-consuming and rigorous process, that members are able to direct funding to projects that can make a difference. Every member of Congress has their own criteria. Our criteria really has been, let's work with organizations and entities with a proven track record so that folks who have really worked on improving the community can get a boost of support. So let's look to entities and organizations that have a proven track record, but also let's take a look at where some federal funding, some pretty immediate federal funding, will make a positive impact. A positive impact either in our infrastructure or a positive impact in the healthcare of our community or the quality of life of our community or the safety and welfare of our community. So we look at various different facets of what makes a great community in our office, and then we announce the competitive process. And I have to tell you, something that I'm so incredibly proud of with regard to our community is the response. So when we make the announcement, the response is significant. In part, obviously, because the need in our community is overwhelming. We are a community that still has to address significant economic challenges. We are an economically disadvantaged community, and so there is a lot of need. But the flip side of that competitive process and that incredible response from the community is that we have outstanding professionals within each one of these organizations who is ready. We have governing bodies that are ready to submit proposals and ideas, and it is really inspiring to see the list of ideas and needs and dreams and hopes that all of these agencies, organizations, and local governments have. And so we're here to announce the organizations and the entities and the projects that will be receiving federal funding through the fiscal year 2023 process. And I will tell you, this is year 2 of having done this. Year 1 was kind of the test year. And year 1, we received $11.5 million for the community, and there were 9 projects that we were able to fund. This year, 14 projects, and we are bringing in $25 million. So it's a total of $36 million for really wonderful projects throughout the community over the course of 2 years. I do want to kind of highlight what's ahead before I highlight the great wins. And just for your knowledge, we didn't have every single we're not highlighting every single project in the interest of time. And as I mentioned at the top of the conversation, we are going to have individual press conferences and big fake check deliveries with every one of these entities, hopefully in the month of February. So this is just a teaser, really, so to speak. But here is what's ahead that I am significantly concerned about. You all know that there's been a change of control in the House, and House Democrats who led the way on carving out this process, we are now in the minority. And the majority, House Republicans, have told us that they want to reduce domestic spending and that they want to bring domestic spending levels to at least fiscal year 2022 numbers. That poses a really significant risk for communities like ours that are really reliant on federal funds, but it also poses a significant risk to this great process that we've created and the great projects that this money will grow. So to be continued, we will see what happens in this upcoming budget battle. But in the meantime, we're here to celebrate great projects. So one of our first projects, I'd like to invite John Martin from the Opportunity Center for the Homeless to join me at the podium and tell you about a project that really moved us in our office because of the goals that it has set out to help address some of the most vulnerable in our community. So John, the podium is yours.
Again, my name is John Martin. I'm with the Opportunity Center for the Homeless. And first and foremost, I want to give my thanks and gratitude to Congresswoman Escobar, as well as her staff, who have been extremely patient with me over the past few weeks at this point. The project that we have underway is what we refer to as La Casa de los Abuelitos. And if you look at the English translation loosely, the home of the little grandfather. When you work with the homeless, as we have done through the leadership of Ray Tullius, our executive director, for the last 29 years, you see a variety of things. And what many people don't know is about 1 in 5 or 20% of our population are over the age of 50. And that's our senior homeless population. And you may ask yourself why I'm redefining elderly. But when you're homeless and living in the streets, you tend to demonstrate the physical and the mental characteristics of somebody 20 years your senior. And so I myself would be elderly under our definition at this point. This particular facility will provide for 31 additional beds for the homeless senior population, men within our community, 20 of which will be permanent beds, such as you and I having our own apartment. The balance would be transitional or shelter in nature. And so just imagine walking into a shelter, getting a place of your own by simply walking upstairs. That is what the Abuelos program represents. The other thing it does is we add the additional case management. And the best way for me to describe this and to keep this presentation short, if you're working with the senior homeless individual, the case management support that's provided is very different than that of a young adult. Many of you may say, and it's not uncommon, well, let's get you a job so that you can get out and get your own apartment. Our oldest resident right now is 92 years old. Do you imagine that I'm going to ask her in this particular case, let's get you a job so we can get you a place to call home? So this project is incredible, and it's a long time coming, and we are so excited. But we're going to be able to add additional beds for the homeless in our community. So we thank the community. We thank Congresswoman Escobar one more time, along with her staff. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. And I want to take this moment to publicly thank you for the way that your organization has risen to the challenge of so many unhoused migrants who've been downtown. Your organization really has incredible values, and you all live up to those values every day. So thank you. It was a pleasure to support you. And the funding for that project is nearly $2.5 million. Our next speaker is Cindy Stout, who is the CEO of one of the incredible assets in our community that is very near and dear to my heart, El Paso Children's Hospital. Cindy.
Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you can hear me. Okay, great. Thank you, Congresswoman Escobar and your whole team. You have truly been a huge supporter of our El Paso Children's Hospital. This is the only not-for-profit specialty children's hospital within a 350-mile radius. We are the hospital that is equipped to be able to deliver care to the most complex child, and that is what we're doing. Since the hospital's inception on Valentine's Day in 2012, we've been able to decrease the number of children who leave our community for care by almost 85%. That is what a true children's specialty hospital does. And we're very pleased because Congresswoman Escobar has always been a huge supporter. She understands the value that we're investing into the next generation. The health of our children is critical for us to continue to grow our own community. And so we're very proud to be able to accept funds of almost $600,000 to create our first pediatric mobile medical clinic. In that clinic, we are going to be able to go, not within just the city, but some of the outlying communities, to be able to deliver pediatric care as well as specialized pediatric care. As you all know, oftentimes it's very difficult for family members to get in, to leave their jobs, be able to be on a routine basis to where they can get in and to receive that level of health care. It's much too far. Ease of access is oftentimes too difficult. This will afford us the opportunity to go to those families to be able to provide that level of care. As our hospital continues to grow, we appreciate the support from Congresswoman Escobar, and we know that we'll continue to meet the growing needs of our healthcare system here for our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. And you all know that El Paso Children's is such a gem in our community, and it's something that many folks worked hard to build, and it is a resounding success, in large part because of Cindy's leadership. So Cindy, I'm so grateful to you. We're next going to hear from Sam Rodriguez with the City of El Paso. One of the other components for us that's a priority in our office is addressing the climate crisis. And there is a lot that all of us need to be doing, especially when it comes to harnessing the power of the sun. And the airport had a really unique and wonderful project that we were so pleased to fund. Sam?
Good afternoon. Sam Rodriguez. I'm the director of El Paso International Airport. I want to thank Congresswoman Escobar, your staff. Again, very supportive of the airport and our efforts, not just in economic development and what the airport provides to the community, but also our sustainability goals. The City of El Paso has adopted a strategic plan that includes an urban energy plan, where the airport is the key component of that, where it becomes a renewable energy hub for our community. In November of this past year, the community also passed the Climate Action Plan, where we're going to be developing a plan for our community that's going to be focusing on renewable energy and solar renewable panels for the area. As far as the project itself, we're scheduled to receive $1.75 million that will help build a 1.5 megawatt solar farm at a short-term facility at the airport. This will allow us to offset half of the energy that's used at the terminal building, and really allow us to begin the next phase, which is the electric vehicle charging stations, and deploy those throughout the terminal. Another key component of that is the airport is one of the front doors to our community, and having solar panels right as you come out of the ticketing area will be a clear message to the visitors and our residents that solar energy and climate is a priority for our community. So very appreciative of your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sam. Really appreciate the innovation behind this. It's so exciting. And next at the podium is Jose Landeros from El Paso County. And the County of El Paso had a really, really impressive list of projects. And so it was really, you made it very difficult for us, Jose, but thank you for doing that. Jose will highlight the various projects that the county is being funded for. But, I mentioned at the top of my comments, kind of the, health, safety, welfare, quality of life. One of the other components is economic development. And as you all know, the district isn't just the city of El Paso, but I have the privilege of representing parts of the county of El Paso, which I was honored to represent while I was in county government. And so I'm really excited about some of the projects that the county of El Paso has asked funding for. Jose, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon, Congresswoman. On behalf of the county judge, our commissioners, that's not just your resume, but right, our bosses, and our chief administrator, we thank you so much for your tireless advocacy for this community. This whole process, this event, really is just a snapshot of the work that you and your teams, both in DC and here at the district, do. So thank you so much. As the Congresswoman mentioned, our efforts with regard to the projects are rooted in the county's vision as being a regional level of government that helps to bridge the gap in terms of access to services for residents across our community, whether it's a business owner in Tornillo who needs technical assistance, or a private resident in Westway or Canotillo on the west side who have concerns about streetlights and dogs when they walk their children to school in the morning and the afternoon. That is the county's lane to help bridge the gap and really equalize opportunities for advancement and prosperity for all residents in the county. The first project focuses on providing technical assistance along El Paso's Mission Trail. The missions are home to the oldest active mission sites in the state of Texas. And it's not only that, but also a national historic trail that's been designated by the U.S. Parks and Wildlife as a huge resource that demonstrates our rich culture and history. Having businesses that can thrive in that space, especially in the tourism and hospitality sectors following the pandemic, is going to be key for this corridor to continue to develop as we move forward. And the project will provide technical assistance to entrepreneurs and individuals who might need guidance and resources to really provide that catalyst to support their business and their idea. And not only that, but also existing businesses that want to grow to continue to provide the high quality of service that we want to promote along the Mission Trail. The other two projects, very much in line with the court's vision for our agency in terms of providing access to basic levels of services that promote quality of life and health, safety, and welfare in some of the most disproportionately impacted areas of our community. The first of those is renovating an existing facility that will serve as a rapid spay and neuter clinic for our county animal welfare department. This will take the stray population of animals that live because they do live right outside of the city limits, and help to control that population with our partners at the city, obviously moving toward a no-kill type of shelter environment that we want to get to. Spay and neuter is at the heart of those efforts. And this clinic will help to modernize an existing facility that was donated to the county so we can continue to provide services and minimize those threats to the health, safety, and welfare of our community. And then the last area is a critical partnership with El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank, which is to help introduce a senior nutrition kitchen. The current facility that we utilize is outdated. It doesn't meet the demands that we have in our community anymore, especially as our population continues to grow and we continue to see development in the unincorporated areas outside the city limits. Having a facility like this that's modern to deliver the services that our community expects of us is going to be critical moving forward. And with our partners at the food bank, we expect to be able to deliver that. So again, Congresswoman, thank you so much to you and your staff, and we look forward to getting a chance to put these projects and these dollars to work.
So those three really terrific projects that kind of touch on different aspects of need in the community, that they total combined for the El Paso County are about $5.8 million. Next, we are going to hear from Mayor Ruben Mendoza, who will tell us about the transit-oriented development that this funding will help for his community of Horizon. Mayor?
Thank you. Thank you, Congresswoman Escobar. I believe you're a tireless advocate for El Paso, because I believe your heart is El Paso. Thank you. Horizon City is thrilled to receive funds to design critical infrastructure for the transit-oriented development in the heart of our community. We're excited to foster orderly development and provide opportunities for both Horizon City residents and Eastern El Paso County residents to access basic services and educational facilities through enhanced transit services. This infusion of $1.735 million will be transformational for our community. We are grateful to Congresswoman Escobar for her efforts in bringing much-needed infrastructure to Horizon City. And on behalf of myself, our city council, and the residents of Horizon City, we sincerely want to thank you for your efforts in providing for us, and we can't thank you enough.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You know, I have to tell you, the gratitude that I am getting from folks, I want you to know it goes right back out to you. Because, you know, we wanted to have this press conference with the folks who are doing the work on the ground, the folks who are really writing the grants. As I mentioned, we are going to have more of these with the big checks, with all of our dignitaries and with you know, everybody involved. But these community leaders really represent the best. They are so committed to their mission and to the vision of their organizations. They make it very, very easy to advocate for them. And I'm just so privileged to be able to work for you all. We're next going to hear from Dr. Marta Carmona, who is Deputy Superintendent at EPISD. And EPISD is receiving $2 million for a really amazing program that I think is going to be transformational in the lives of many of our young people. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Congresswoman Escobar. On behalf of El Paso ISD, our superintendent, Ms. Diana Saavedra, and most importantly, our students, we thank you and we thank your staff for the tireless work that has been invested in this project. I would also like to thank the grant writer, Mr. Daniel Vasquez, who's here today, who had a huge hand in making this project possible. We are honored to have the voice of El Paso in Washington, D.C. through Congresswoman Escobar, and we are very fortunate to be launching in the communities in need in our school district STEM programs. And in collaboration with the YWCA Paso del Norte, it gives us a great opportunity to provide structured environment for our students when they are no longer within our care in our school district. I'm honored to be here with everybody here because you can see that it's a true community effort to make sure that the future of El Paso begins with everyone's vision to make it the best that it can be. And in partnership with Congresswoman, it is an honor. So thank you very much.
We are very familiar as a community with the challenges of many of our neighborhoods and small communities, small municipalities and outlying areas when it comes to water and wastewater. And frankly, the needs are so great. You all know that it is just far too much for local property taxpayers. And so every cycle, we do everything we can to ensure that there is really robust funding for colonias and for water and wastewater. And I'm so proud of the work that the Village of Vinton has done to make sure that they are bringing their community up to standards of dignity. And I'd like to invite Mr. Daniel Bueno of the Village of Vinton to come and talk about the water and wastewater infrastructure funding.
Thank you. My name is Daniel Bueno, Community and Economic Development Coordinator at the Village of Vinton. First and foremost, thank you, Congresswoman. She quite literally walked in high heels and saw firsthand the need for water sewer infrastructure in our community. As she recalls, during her term as county judge, water and sewer infrastructure has been an ongoing project and battle for us here at Vinton for the past 20 years. Today, we finally get the announcement that they're financing now our phase 3, which will address water sewer infrastructure in our commercial sector, which will allow the businesses in that road to adequately grow and expand their businesses. Again, water is the lifeline of any community, and today we get to expand it and offer it to our community. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And that, phase 3, that funding is $4 million. Okay, and our last speaker, and again, we wanted to go through all of the projects, but because there are so many, it's a great problem to have. We decided to shrink this a little bit in the interest of time. Our final speaker is Dr. Rafael Alderete from Texas A&M, the Transportation Institute. We know, you all might have participated in a press conference earlier about our ports of entry and how important they are, and the significance of the commerce that comes across those ports of entry, not just to El Paso, but really to our state and to our nation. And so I'm very excited about this next project as well. Dr. Alderete. Thank you for being here.
Well, first of all, thank you, Congresswoman Escobar. We really appreciate your support for the resources provided for this study. And TTI, part of the Texas A&M University system, is a state agency. I head the El Paso division. El Paso has been home to TTI's programs for the past 16 years. And our office in El Paso is dedicated to assisting local, state, and federal agencies across El Paso region to develop technology and policy solutions to improve transportation with a focus on cross-border transportation. The border and our partners in Mexico are vital to the El Paso region, and our study seeks to help agencies in our community to enhance transit and pedestrian access across the border and to the business, medical, and service districts in El Paso. Border crossings provide access to employers, and they are critical for U.S. businesses. So providing better connectivity and safer and more efficient movement of pedestrians and transit to and from the border is critical for the continued economic development of our region. We will conduct extensive outreach to stakeholders and the public throughout the region in our study to identify pedestrian and transit connectivity issues, needs, and to identify initiatives that can improve those needs. And this will, in turn, we hope these investments that result from this study help reduce inequality by boosting economic development. Extending the pedestrian improvements from the border crossings to their immediate surroundings and then to other businesses across the region will foster economic activity in the U.S., in our neighborhoods, and contribute to a more equitable community. Our study is going to leverage and build upon current efforts, community redevelopment programs, and other transit improvement projects that the City of El Paso, the El Paso County, and TxDOT are conducting. And we hope that we leverage all these other studies so that this study becomes an asset for the community and leads to the investment that is needed for our community. I want to thank again Congresswoman Escobar for her support for the TTI El Paso office and for this project, which will greatly benefit our region. Thank you very much.
And I'm just going to briefly mention the other projects because they are so exciting as well. $1 million for a sediment detention basin, which for anyone who's had to deal with flooding in the community, you know the needs, the incredible needs that exist. And those needs, like as I mentioned with regard to families and communities without water and wastewater, our stormwater needs are also pretty significant. And this project will construct a 34-acre-foot desilting basin strategically placed on the far east side to detain peak flows and sediment. And it will be, the money is going to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in conjunction with El Paso Water. Also, $3 million to our great partners at Texas Tech for an El Paso Border Health Center. It would be used to target at-risk communities in the border region, leveraging community and clinical partners to conduct early diagnosis and monitoring, as well as to provide telemedicine services and surveillance for obesity, diabetes, and cancer. And finally, almost $2 million for the town of Anthony for a police department, municipal court, and emergency shelter facility. It is much needed infrastructure for them for a new police station, courthouse, and emergency community shelter facility. Currently, the police department and courthouse are housed in the same building as the town hall and other public services. And when we toured it, they really were long overdue for this kind of investment. So we're really excited for them and what this money will mean for them. And in closing, I will just say, I hope that after hearing from each one of our community leaders, you are as proud of them as my team and I are. I want to thank my team for all of the hard work on this entire process, but I really want to thank each and every one of you for everything that you do to improve our community, to take care of the vulnerable. This money is going to touch our community from our population that is made up of babies who seek health care at El Paso Children's Hospital to some of the members of our community that are older and that are among the most vulnerable. And with that, I want to, and everybody in between. With that, I want to close. If there are any quick questions, we can do a quick Q&A, but also would encourage you to do a one-on-one with our great community leaders on these key projects. So thank you all. Any questions? And I'll do Spanish separately. One-on-one? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you all. Yeah, let's do a group photo.